Welcome to another edition of the Noles podcast. I am your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. The Miami game. It's games like this why you become a Florida State fan. Just some of the talent that has played in this game throughout the course of my life and many years before that, it's unparalleled in college football, maybe in sports. Deion Sanders, Devin Hester, Peter Warrick, Andre Johnson, Ray Lewis, Derrick Brooks. Charlie Ward, Gino Torretta, Lamar Thomas, Kevin Knox, Amp Lee, Clinton Portis, just on and on and on, man. You could just name players forever. Pass rushers, linebackers. To me, it's just, I'm biased. I think it's one of the best rivalries in college football. I don't really hate Miami. Okay. When they played Ohio State for the national championship, what was it, 2002? They got robbed. Let's be clear, they got robbed. I just don't like Miami when we play them. And, when some of my friends that are Miami fans, when they lose, I give them a hard time. But I don't really hate Clemson like I hate the Florida Gators, right? I want the Florida Gators to lose every game. I never want them to win another game in the history of the universe. So, I don't know, man. I wanted Miami to beat NC State so they wouldn't come into this game with a chip on their shoulder. They could be, when you win a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Your guard is kind of down. Like when you coming in and you've lost the game, you're kind of upset and it makes you refocus. So motivation, intensity, focus, I don't think it's going to be an issue for this game. I think last year we were pretty hyped up and ready to play this game, and we came out and we took it to them. You never know with these kind of games. You never know. It's been plenty of times we've had the best team and we lost. There's been plenty of times they had the best team and lost, and vice versa. There's been plenty of times where we had the best team and destroyed them. There's been plenty of times they had the best team and destroyed us. So you really don't know what's going to happen in this type of game. This week, Mike Norvell might have to try to contain the intensity, motivation, and focus. He might have to try to dial it back a little bit, because you can get overhyped. You can be over-focused. You can be over-motivated to the point where you're distracted and make mistakes. So, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know what's going on, but just from my past football experience, that can happen in a rivalry game. It most definitely can. And, if I had to make a scoring prediction, I'm going to say 31-17 Florida State. It's going to be a hard-fought game. It's in Tallahassee. It's going to be a hard-fought game. I did not like the strategy against Pittsburgh, but you won the game. You dominated the game in the second half. You didn't have any major injuries. Jordan Travis was limping at the end of the game, so hopefully that's nothing big. But I never get overconfident for the Miami game or the Florida game because emotions run high. And, when emotions run high, big plays can be made, mistakes can be made. And that's what I've learned throughout the course of watching these games, is that emotions run high. Big plays are going to be made. Turnovers are going to be made. And, luckily the last 2 years we've been on the right side of that coin. So I thought this would be a primetime game. I thought this would be if Miami had beaten NC State, this would be an 8:00 game, a 7:00 game. But because Miami is unranked, it's a 3:30 kick. So, I mean, it works out for me because I don't have to, stay up too late. When you get old, you don't want to stay up late. So, I'm just very hyped up for this game, man. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of recruits at this game. It's a chance to really enhance our recruiting class, and which, from various recruiting outlets is, one of the top 5. It's top 5 in every major recruiting website that I've seen. So it's nice to be back in that situation, getting top guys, and more and more it just looks like we're going to be playing Louisville in the ACC championship. I know they've got like 2 more ACC games to play, but they're very, like I said in the instant reaction, they're very talented. They're very good. They're very physical, and that could be a game where we get embarrassed. I think for Louisville, whatever you're bringing to the table for Miami and the Florida Gators, it has to be times infinity for Louisville, because they're not going to come out here playing with you. They're going to come out, from what I've seen, and they still have a rivalry game against Kentucky, but that won't affect them in terms of the ACC. But from what I've seen, from watching them a little bit this season, they don't play around, bro. They're going to be high energy, high impact. We're going to come out and run the football, and defensively we're going to just try to, beat you down. We're going to try to, embarrass you up front. And we're going to be physical in the running game. We're going to have a controlled passing game, and we're going to try to eat up the clock and keep your offense on the sidelines. That's how I see Louisville. Very talented, very well coached, and they not coming out here playing no games. So it really comes down, if Florida State is clicking on all cylinders and everybody's locked in and focused, I don't think Louisville beats us. If we come out there, waiting to get punched in the mouth, this game could be 21-0 in the first quarter. Which is kind of the thing that Florida State has done this season in some of these games is they've waited for the other team to punch them in the mouth, and then they'll go on a run the rest of the game. And you're getting down to where that strategy is not going to work on some of these better teams. And you're entering the championship part of your season. And like I said, Louisville, in my opinion, is elite. Is elite. Now, are they Georgia elite? No. But they're the next tier under that. I think they're on par with Oregon. I think they're on par with Washington. I think Louisville could beat either one of those teams. Just how their team is set up. They don't have great quarterback play, but their quarterback is good enough to put together 250 yards, 2-3 touchdowns, and be efficient and manage the game. And their running game is tremendous. Their defense is tremendous. And, yeah. And I know this is the Miami podcast, in terms of I should be talking about Miami. And I'm not looking past Miami. But I got to talk about what could potentially be down the road. We're in the ACC championship game. So this game, for the ACC part of it, really doesn't matter. This is our last ACC game of the season. Of course, we want to go undefeated in the ACC. So this game is very important in terms of where we want to be in terms of the ACC and the national championship picture. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm looking past Miami because, like I said, everything is times 10 in this game. Everybody's going to be super hyped, super motivated, super focused. Big plays are going to happen. Turnovers are going to happen. And it's who can make the least amount of mistakes that's going to come out on top. And, if our three main guys, Williams, Coleman, and Wilson are healthy, I don't think Miami can do anything with that. I don't think Miami's going to be able to be in this game for a long period of time. I just think there's more talent on the Florida State side. Now, we've seen these games where the more talented team comes out overconfident and loses. We've seen that in this rivalry. So it could definitely happen. I'm not automatically putting this game in the win column. I'm not. It's going to be a highly competitive game, as it always is. I think last year was kind of, exception to the rule, aberration, whatever you want to call it. I think the game 2 years ago was probably more indicative to what this game this year might be like. I just wish Miami was like undefeated and in the top 10. I really do. I like when the Hurricanes are great. I love when the Gators are great. I love when all three schools are great and there's no excuses. And whoever wins, wins. College football is better. When it was a point in time where the national championship had to go through the state of Florida. In terms of those three universities. Just with none of these schools really dominating in recent years, you've had Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, those four schools in particular just come in and create pipelines as far as recruiting. Like, none of your South Florida guys want to go to Miami. Their head coach, I really don't know anything about him. He's billed as a great recruiter, and he's had some really good guys come in there in his last couple years as head coach, but it just seems like he makes really bad decisions in games. The Georgia Tech game, for example. I think he did the same thing at Oregon when he was at Oregon. So, I don't want any excuses, man. I just want this to be a clean game and the best team wins. And I feel like my boys, the Florida State Seminoles, are the better team. Motivation is not going to be an issue for this game. Focus is not going to be an issue for this game. Jordan Travis not doing stupid stuff with the football, you know what I'm saying? He does it at least once a game where he makes boneheaded throws or he doesn't play smart football. If you're, I know it's a willingness to make a play on every play, but if the defensive lineman is draped on your back or they got you in the grasp, just take the sack, man. A punt is not a bad thing. The defense is playing okay, pretty well. And there's no problem. There's no issue from me as a fan with punting and playing defense. They brought Marquiston Douglas back into the backfield more of as a lead blocker, which something that I've been calling for the last several weeks, and it was nice to see that. I would like to see more of that. Jaheim Bell is kind of like a poor man's Deebo Samuel. He's a bigger version of Deebo Samuel. When he gets to the league, he'll probably play a fullback tight end type of deal. I would love to see him in San Francisco. I think Kyle Shanahan would do wonders with that guy. Because he loved those players that, that can do those type of things like Kyle Juszczyk. But I think Jaheim Bell's definitely going to be an X factor in this game. If Johnny Wilson, if we have all our guys up front, not up front, but all our skill position guys, they're not going to be able to stop us, man. They're just not. It's just too many weapons. And I still think it's going to be like 31-17. I think it's going to be pretty close in the fourth quarter, and I think we're just going to pull away. But I expect a highly competitive game. I wanted it to be a night game. Both teams have winning records. I wanted Miami to win last week so they wouldn't come in here with, a chip on their shoulder. I didn't want any excuses, the looking ahead stuff and all that other stuff. So, I don't even know who their quarterback is going to be because Van Dyke, I don't know if he's injured or what, but they've had some other guy out there. So to me, I don't even know what uniforms we're wearing. To me, this is an all Garnet game. This is an all Garnet game. Big, tremendous, tremendous game. I think it's going to be a tremendous atmosphere. Like I said earlier on in the podcast, this is the type of environment that you want to expose recruits to. It's games like this why you become a Florida State fan. This is why you watch the games. This is why you follow the team. This is why you start a podcast to see games like this. Like I said, I wish Miami was better. I wish they had a better record. But it is what it is. And I know that that's kind of taboo to wish that your rival was better, but I think the game itself would be better if Miami had a better record. You go back to when both of these teams were in their heyday in the early 90s. And Florida State would come in undefeated, Miami would come in undefeated, and it was a stop the world type of atmosphere, type of game. And I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple of these Florida State Miami games in the mid 90s, and it's like no other. I think the only thing that rivals it is Florida State, Florida, and I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple of those games. I mean, just imagine going into a restaurant and one side of the restaurant is Florida State, one side of the restaurant is Florida Gators. Just imagine that. I've seen that. So, and I'm pretty sure that happens in other rivalries, but my first time seeing that, it was culture shock. Because, I'm not from Florida, but I spent a little bit of time down there in my younger days, and you really don't get the full grasp of the rivalries between Miami, Florida, and Florida State until you're actually down there in it. Like, I think these people really, really hate each other. Like, but I just hope that we can come out on top. We're in the ACC championship, but we don't want to go into the ACC championship with any losses. Like I said, it looks like we're going to be playing Louisville. Louisville still has some business to take care of, and I just can't wait to see it. It's been from a fan perspective, it's been a very tough road watching your team rebuild and get back to where they were 10 years ago. But I never want to go through that again as a fan, because it's really, really tough watching, mediocre players come out there and play for Florida State. That's the hard part. If we had really good players and we were still losing, I could understand that. But, man, at one point, I think we had the worst offensive line in college football in any division, because our offensive line couldn't block air. We couldn't block air. And to go from that to a very good offensive line right now, and Jordan Travis, full circle, man. We remember him getting in the Boston College game and going crazy, running wild. We as fans thought, hey, Jordan Travis couldn't even throw a pass. We thought he had like a noodle arm. And then we saw him bombs away in the Boston College game 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was. And we were like, yo, Willie Taggart, what gives? And then for Mike Norvell to come in and develop this guy, and he is one of the all-time greats. You have to say that now. Statistically, he's one of the all-time greats to be there. And, it's just tremendous. And he said that he's not here to win Heisman's. He's here to win a national championship. I love that. And hopefully we can get it done this year. So we still stay at number 4 in the college football playoff rankings, which is fine with me. I just as long as we're in the top 4, I'm good. As long as we have a chance to put ourselves in a position to compete for a national championship, that's all you can ask for. Upon doing my research on the internet for this podcast, I had seen something where it said that the Texas TCU game is in prime time because they felt that game would be more competitive than the Florida State Miami game. You guys haven't really been watching these games for the last couple years. I can only remember like 2 lopsided games in the last 5 or 6 years. And both teams have winning records. At the very least, we should have been it doesn't even sound like we were considered for the primetime spot. It's fine with me because I'll get to watch the game in its entirety, so I'm not totally upset with the decision that, the giant mouse made. So it is what it is. Like I said, like I've been saying throughout this whole podcast, I expect a very competitive game. Generally, these games, these Miami, Florida State football games are very competitive. So I don't expect anything less. I think Florida State is going to have to play with composure, a controlled rage. I think Miami is going to come out there and try to, muddy the water, if you will. Try to make this a fight in a phone booth. Because right now they don't have the players. I think slowly but surely they will get the players. I just think if you leave a coach alone down there, and Cristobal can recruit. Let's not get that twisted. He can recruit. He just hasn't picked very good coordinators. And in college football, really in college and pro, that's really going to determine the success of your football team. A large part of it. Now, of course, you got to have the talent. That's really the essence of football is the talent. But I think having good guys, having good coordinators that can strategize and put your players in the best possible position to succeed is paramount. Mike Norvell is a very good offensive mind. Very good offensive mind. Our defense, I think we could use an upgrade at defensive coordinator. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Adam Fuller shouldn't be in that position, but that's the guy he picked, so that's who we're going to roll with. It is what it is. I think we're having success on defense because of talent, not scheme. That's just my opinion. Because, some of the things that have plagued us throughout Adam Fuller's tenure, I'm still seeing in some games. It's just that we have better talent, and those mistakes or errors are not being exposed. But a team like Louisville can expose those errors. So it's just a matter of time. If we don't fix it, something bad is going to happen. And that means potentially not being in the playoff or getting destroyed in the playoff. I don't want either one. I want to win out, and I want to see my boys holding up that trophy. Maybe I'm just one of the I don't know, just one of the fans in this fan base that wants all three Florida teams to be good, the main teams. So when Florida State plays them, there's no excuses. No rebuilding, no coaching nonsense, none of that. Just you put your best out there, we put our best out there, and, let's see who's the better team. So, like I said, I'm real hyped up for this game, man. One of my friends is a diehard Miami fan. We trying to make it 3 in a row. And, hopefully, I keep wanting to say that motivation and focus is going to be an issue for this game, but it can't be. It can't be for Miami. It just can't be. It has to be over the top for this game. So we'll see what happens, man. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It's available on YouTube. It's available on all podcast platforms. And as always, go Noles.